All right, so this is my, I think my fourth or fifth YouTube video continuing the story of how I got here. um, so I get home from arena football and I realize that my career is over. And, you know, that sets in and I get pretty sad, man, because I don't really know what I'm doing now. I mean, my whole life I'm playing sports. My whole life I'm training and I'm trying to be the best athlete I can be, and I'm running and lifting and sprinting and you name it, running routes every day. And all of a sudden, the reality is that as much as I learned from all that stuff, I can't take that stuff with me now into the professional world. The professional world cares about what have you done for me lately, and what can you do for me now. And all of my experience is just running and catching balls. So that really sets in, and I start to apply for different jobs, and I start trying to make a resume and all the stuff that you would do. And my resume is pretty basic. I have a degree, so I felt like that was pretty valuable. It's not. companies, they don't really care that much about your college degree unless you're from like Stanford, or you're coming from a very prestigious university, and maybe your field is very specific. Maybe you have an engineering degree, or maybe you are applying for an architectural firm and you have a specific degree in architecture, and you have some projects that you've done that are really impressive, and you're very specific in your approach. My approach was not specific at all. I had a sociology and communications degree. I have a sports background. I've coached, but that doesn't do anything for companies that I was applying for, which was like environmental companies, which was like energy companies, like solar panel companies, all these different companies, man, that were doing like cool work in the world that I felt like would be cool, but I didn't have any experience or resume skills that provided that. So I didn't get any interviews. So I'm sitting there, and now I'm starting to get like depressed, man, because like I don't have a job. I live with my parents. My football career is over. And I don't know what the hell I'm doing. So I got some jobs that summer doing like summer camps. I worked for like Pleasant Hill Rec. It was fun. It was just some good money, just like in the meantime I'm not paying rent. I'm living with my parents. They were being cool about it. But I knew, and they weren't really pressuring me to move out, but it was not a healthy environment for me for other reasons, but I wanted to get out. So I started to research programs that I could be a part of, because I felt like I didn't really know too much. So I'm like, I need to go get like a master's, because I'm looking at a lot of successful people that are on like LinkedIn and stuff, and a lot of these guys have like masters. So I felt like that'd be good for me. So I start researching programs that are into business, because I felt like I wanted to do a business, because business to me allowed me to be creative, and I wanted to be creative in a way. So I looked up programs, found a program that was at Mills College in Oakland. It was an MBA program, but it was centered on social transformation. And that really, really drew me in, because I was all into that, because I wanted to transform society. I saw that there was a lot of problems in my community, especially in the world, overseas. Just the culture was so negative, right? Like, the norm is to be unhealthy. The norm is to have excuses, is to be lazy, is to be ignorant. Ignorance is the culture, right? So those are all the faces that we see every day on social media, on our politicians, our artists. A lot of our music, a lot of our movies is so predicated on these really, really like stupid norms. And the way people eat and all these things just bugged me, man. So I'm like, I know that the truth is that people are unhealthy, especially mentally in the way they think. And I think that is what the world needs. Whether or not people think that or not, I don't care, because I see that people are angry and pissed off, and the way we perceive things is so toxic. So that's where I wanted to spend my time. I was like, I think I read a video somewhere that was like, if you want to be successful, find something that you're willing to like spend the rest of your life doing, you know? And I was like, that hit me hard, because I'm like, yeah, pretty much. And I'll spend the rest of my life helping people and affecting culture in a positive way. So Mills College totally drew me in because they were teaching some stuff that other MBAs weren't really talking about. So I go to Mills College, and it's a women's college. I didn't know that when I applied, but the grad school accepts men. So I got into the grad school somehow. I guess I wrote a good paper, they said, and they accepted me. So now I'm at Mills College in Oakland, and I moved out of my mom's house and moved into my dad's house, who lived in Oakland. And living with my dad was better because it was just way more like relaxing in a way. Like my mom's place was great, no problems, no crazy problems, but my dad's place was just a little funner. My dad's environment was just a little funner, and I liked that. I just got to do my thing. And Oakland was actually a little nicer for me because it was cooler and trees everywhere, a little more foresty. I really liked that. It was a good environment for me, especially because my mental health was just not going in a good direction. I had some bad thoughts that summer, man. And I needed to kind of get away. I had to kind of get away from my roots a little bit. So Oakland was perfect. Mills College was awesome. Being on a campus was what I needed, man. I wasn't mentally and emotionally ready for stuff. And I think a lot of people get thrown into the fire because maybe they can't go to college. They don't have the funds to go to a college. And you know what? That ends up working really, really well for them, because getting thrown in the fire is a great way to learn. And I think it doesn't matter what your situation is, whether you get thrown in the fire of the world and business, or you go to a university, or you go to, I think the best route is your attitude and how you're going about, how you're learning. At the end of the day, you will eventually get thrown into the fire. I did it a little bit later than most people. So I go to grad school, and I had a professor named Darcel Lar who really, really, really asked me good questions about what I wanted and what I wanted to create and what my intentions were. And I can't lie, I didn't have an answer for her for a while. I didn't really know. I just knew that I had a passion for a lot of different things. I was into learning about a lot of things, and I didn't really have my ducks in a row at all. So we would meet every week, and we would talk about like ideas and whatnot. And one day I came to her and I said, I want to connect people with nature. And she's like, okay, like there you go, we can start there. Because I felt like there was a disconnect with nature because of technology, frankly. And I think that social media is good in a lot of ways, but I think it's also harmful in a lot of ways too. Just like everything, there's a yin and a yang. But so I'm at Mills, I'm learning with Darcel, and I come up with this idea to create a gym. And it really came from my heart, because the first like 6 months to a year in school, I wanted nothing to do with sports. I didn't want to talk about training or sports or any of that stuff. I didn't have enough mental space to talk about it. I only wanted to talk about um, stuff that I was interested in, like the biophilia hypothesis, like physics, like energy, like sustainable renewable energies, like agriculture. Like that's all I really wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about building design. I wanted to talk about better ways to build structures and stuff like that. That was just like so in front of my mind. Everything, all the sports stuff that I did my whole life was in the back of my mind because I felt like I knew so much about it. It was like overload information. I didn't want to. I had a professor that was like, "There's an opening for like a warrior. You can like go work for the Warriors." And I was like, "I don't want to work for the Warriors, man. Like, I don't even want to talk about like. I didn't really watch basketball or football too much that year. So I had this idea to build this gym that was going to build a more nature connection for people through nutrition, through philosophical insights, through learning about their body. Because when you learn about the interconnectivity of your body, you learn about the interconnectivity of people and about the world and about culture. I feel like, especially when you have it presented to you in that way. When you learn about the body, when you learn about your body, you learn about how your brain and your mind and your body and your heart all work together. You kind of learn about the mechanisms that drive the universe, and you start to learn about how to make change individually, especially, and that's how I think we change the world. Is we change individuals, we change mindsets, and if we change mindsets, we change the world. It's that simple. So I felt like all the big picture stuff will figure itself out if we take care of the small, low-level, hanging fruit stuff, which would be changing the lives of individuals and communities. So we're not better to start in my own community, Pleasant Hill, Walnut Creek, Concord, and start with the minds here that need, guidance and coaching and mentorship. So that was my idea, my big moment idea at Mills when I realized that was my calling. It wasn't until I met with a friend who told me about biophilia and what it meant until I had the realization that painting like a natural scene in here of like oceans and trees and stuff, how that would affect people. That idea didn't come till later. But that's kind of like the transition that I that had to happen for me. I had to be really weak for 6 months before I got stronger. I had to do a lot of self-reflection. I had to do a lot of deep insight. I had to fail and really mentally go there to realize what I wanted and who I was. And the quote, you'll never know how strong you are until you're weak, right? And that's kind of like what happened there. Like I was really weak, and I had to build myself up, and I had to create my own mind, and I had to create my inner environment to figure this stuff out. And you have people that help you along the way, but ultimately it's your own self-strength that does it. So yeah, I'm super excited about continuing this channel. I don't think I have any more than like 20 views on each of my videos, but it's not really about that. It's just more about telling my story and documenting what's going on. My next video will be the process of building the gym and what we did, me and Travis together, in that long year of adversity and family stuff that led to this. So if you're a young athlete out there, I just want to lastly say this: the only thing that really matters is how you respond, because you're gonna have days when you're gonna doubt yourself. You're gonna have days when your self-esteem is low, where you feel like you're worthless. But you have to reinvent yourself on those days, and you have to have I'm not just gonna say growth mindset, you gotta have an abundance mindset, because there's always more to learn and more to do. I mean, if you fail, there's 10 other doors waiting for you if you just walk like another 100 feet, you know? And you gotta understand that, man. If you get rejected, there's always more options. If you, like, I'm a trainer, right? And say like the whole football community doesn't want to train with me. Okay, then do I close my doors? No, like I go talk to the tennis community, you know? I go talk to like the golf community. I go talk to the swimming and the baseball community. Like, and if all those fail, then like, I don't know, I go learn more about training, you know? Like there's really no end of the road. You just keep reinventing your mind. And if you don't want to reinvent your mind, then that's probably an ego thing. You know, that's probably an ego thing. And I know that from my personal life. Like, I didn't get that from a book. Like, when I feel like I don't want to do that, or that doesn't sound like me, or that, it's always my ego. It's always my ego that doesn't want to grow, that doesn't want to venture out and have new conversations with new people and enter new ways of thinking, and like, it's always the ego, man. You know, so if there's and I see it with people that for some reason don't want to train with me. It's a shot on my ego, because I'm like, they don't want to train with me. Oh my God, like, oh, their trainer is weak. It's like, no, like, it didn't work. It's just that what they like is that trainer, and that's okay. But it's also a shot on their ego, because another person, like a trainer telling an athlete that like they need to work on this and that, is like threatening. It's like very threatening to what they feel like, you know, they're good at, you know, and they don't want to get out of that, right? And it's like, that's so typical. But when you always talk to great athletes, they always say that the key to their training is being open-minded and learning new stuff and learning new ways. It's not about the best training. It's not about, oh, this trainer does that. It's not about me and how I do mobility. It's just about different stimuluses on your nervous system at the end of the day. You know, it's about introducing new stuff to your tissues constantly, so your body is always making new adaptations and new strength, like new possibilities for movement that you didn't think of, that your nervous system didn't get introduced to. And that comes from different methodologies, different theories, different trainers. And that's just hard to accept as an athlete. Luckily for myself, I understood that. After college, I was doing everything. I had like 4 different trainers, doing all types of stuff. And that was great for me, because I ended up making an arena team, and I was doing stuff on my body that I never had done in college. And you have to understand that if you want to make it big, man, if you want to be a stud, you can't stay with the same person doing the same training all the time. You know, if my guys say I'm doing stuff with this guy or that woman, like, I'm like, dope, you know, that's great. Always come back, but like, keep staying open-minded. Y'all have a great day. If you made it to the end of this video, drop a comment and say I made it to the end of the video, and tell me what you thought. And I'm gonna keep it rolling, and keep trying to like inspire these minds, man, because it's all about your mentality, man, and how you go about what you do. Your life is so subjective. Everything is always changing. So keep changing, keep moving, you know, keep being motivated. And when you're not motivated, ask yourself why. All right? Have a good one, y'all.